Well, what we are going to see today? Well, you must have heard this thing that there is a beautiful opening or a deadly opening called as the King's Gambit opening, right? This opening is truly the dangerous opening, you can say, because it belongs to the romantic era of chess. Because in the romantic era of chess, people used to believe in check, check, and then checkmate, nothing else. Nothing comes between the that thing like maneuvering this and that. All those stuff came after that. So we are going to see some of those beautiful games today, guys. I'm going to show you three deadly checkmating tricks, or you can say the opening traps in this opening. So without further delay, let's get started with this video. But before we go further, don't forget to like this video, share this video with your friends, and if you are new here, don't forget to click on the subscribe button and after that the bell icon. Okay, so let's begin. So in this King's Gambit opening, white starts with e4, black plays e5, and now our trademark move, that is f4. Without f4, this is not at all the King's Gambit opening. So there are two options. Black can actually capture the pawn with e into f4, that is the King's Gambit accepted, or sometimes he can play some other moves like d6, bishop c5, or even d5 or knight f6. These are like the King's Gambit declined. So we will be looking both the options, accepted as well as declined. Okay, the first thing which I'm going to show you is you can say accepted. Okay, e into f4, black plays, white just simply develops a piece over here, bishop to c4, very viable option, because by developing a piece we are not there. Okay, we are developing a piece and we are attacking the pawn on f7. Black also in this position plays bishop c5, developing a piece in this position. But just to let you know, like playing bishop c5 is not that cool, because white wants to develop very quickly and he wants to grab the center, so he will play d4 and the bishop will be attacked. Okay, black thought like, okay, no problem, you are going to attack my bishop, so I'll just give you a check. White just played king to f1, because if you play some other moves like g3, this will be a very big mistake, because black will just capture the pawn, and if you capture the bishop, then you should not be that much happy, because you will lose the game anyhow after g2 check. Maybe the king needs to move somewhere and white will be lost after this capture. The rook is lost, and there are two queens from the black side. Okay, so here white was clever. He understood that what is going to happen. He plays king to f1 move. Black saves the bishop. He plays bishop b6. White plays knight of 3. This is the drawback of bringing the queen out early in the game, because your opponent will be just developing a piece, attacking your queen, and you have to move your queen. Okay, so the queen moves back to d8 square and white simply captures the pawn on f4. This is the main trick like of King's Gambit opening, guys. When opponent captures the pawn, then means on f4, white gets to develop the pieces very quickly. And what happens after getting the leading development, we are going to see it. Black plays knight to e7, very fair enough move. White plays knight g5, the pawn on f7 is being attacked. Here black has two options. One is to play d5, which is the best move in this position, and another one is to castle. But castling is a bad move. Why? Well, we know this thing that when it comes to the attacking thing, queen is the most deadliest piece on the board, and white brings the queen in the game. And now the pawn on f7 is being attacked by 3 pieces, and the pawn on h7 is also going to be captured with the queen, and it will be a checkmate. So here black thought like, okay, I am going to give up the pawn on f7, you capture that pawn, I will play h6, because now bishop into f7, he thought like this will be okay after king h8. Well, I want to show you one thing, that if rook into f7 is played, then white can play queen into f7 check. King has only one move, and now white has a very simple move, that is bishop to e5, attacking the pawn on g7. Now queen into g7 is a threat here. If you play queen to g8, then obviously just queen into e7 is there, or we can play queen to h5 with the threat of queen into h6 on the next move, and black is just helpless. He cannot really do anything in this position, because there is a pin on this diagonal and black cannot really get rid of the pin. Okay, so he did not go for rook into f7, he played king h8, and he thought like, okay, after bishop into f7 he is kind of safe. But white had planned something deadly in this position. So guys, can you spot the sacrifice in this position, the deadly checkmate? If you pause the video, I'll be very happy. Think about the position and get it. I hope that you have paused the video and you have got the solution. Here white came up with a very cute queen sacrifice, that is queen into h6 check. Black doesn't have any moves, so he have to capture the queen, and now here comes a very simple cute move, bishop to e5 check and mate. White just checkmated black's king with 3 minor pieces, guys. What else do you need in your game, right? So now it's time for the second game, second sacrifice. Okay, so here after into f4, maybe your opponent might play something else like ef4. Not, he will not play that move. Okay, he might play knight to f6, and I'm going to show you another interesting checkmating attack, guys, so pay attention to me. Okay, so white plays knight f3, developing a piece. Black also develops a piece, and white captures the pawn on e5. White captures the pawn on e4. Now what to do? Well, the knight should not be kept in the center of the board, means we should try to dislodge the knight. So white plays d3, kicking away the knight. Knight goes to c5 square. Now d4 comes. Well, you can definitely play knight e4, which is the best move in the position. White might just go for something like this move, bishop to d3, or even I will even say like bishop to f4 is also a possibility. But okay, if you play this move, this might be one of the possibilities, and castle and white is kind of okay. Okay, or there is also one move is left, d5 move is there. So here he did not go for that thing. He played knight to a6. Obviously knight e6 is the mistake, because d5 will be coming and the one of the piece will be gone. Okay, so he plays knight to a6 in this position, and white plays bishop to c4, again pointing towards the f7 square. Here black can play bishop to e7 followed by castling. Maybe it's a good option for him, but he plays queen e7, and this kind of moves are going to ruin your position. Okay, now what to do? Well, the simple opening trick is to develop a piece, bring the piece in the game. So white plays knight to c3. Obviously this knight is heading towards the d5 square at some point, and this bishop g5 move is also there on the board, which might come. Knight g5 is also coming. After castling, the rook will be attacking on f7. So you can already see that black is in some kind of trouble. So black plays h6, stopping everything. White very calmly just castles in this position, brings out the rook in the game. Now here black thinks like, okay, I need to do something about the bishop on f8, and that's why he plays g5 move. But g5 move means it's something anti-positional, right? Black is not at all paying attention to his king, and white is completely developed. So how to take advantage of the development? Well, you must attack. So white brings the knight in the center with knight d5. The queen is being attacked. Queen moves back to d8 square, and now white gives the check. You can already see that the game is kind of over. Okay, but you have to give the finishing touches, and white plays amazing move, knight into g5, just to open up this rook's file. Now you are going to see what happens if h into g5. Can any one of you guess the next move played by white here? If you play, means if you find out the next move, I'll be very astonished or glad, guys. You can pause the video and think about it. Okay, I hope that you have paused the video, and you must have found out the deadly move which white played. White played queen to h5, guys. He's not at all afraid of sacrificing the queen here, because his threat is quite clear. He wants to play queen to f7 check, or he wants to play queen into h8 in this position. And okay, let's suppose you play some random move here in this position, something like knight b4, then queen into f7 is just going to be a check and mate. If you stop this thing by playing d5 idea, that is e into d6 is the move, which is just like en passant here into king into d6, and then knight e4 check, king e7 comes, and now here in this position you can simply capture here. Okay, that is one thing. If king d7 is played, then what to do? Well, we have queen g4 check. The king has two squares, one of this thing is there. Now we can capture bishop into g5 check. The king is almost getting checkmated, and now we can play bishop into f7. It's just a check and mate. Beautiful checkmate, right? Okay, but what if black captures the queen? That is the most important thing here in this position. And if black captures the queen here in this position, white goes for knight g8 check. This is the main trick in this position, that rook was deflected from this square. Now the king has only one square, and now white plays bishop into f7 check and mate. Very beautiful checkmate, guys, after the queen sacrifice. So we have seen two examples where queen sacrifice was there, and this was really amazing. Now guys, we are moving towards the final trick, or you can say the final trap in today's session, and that trap starts with knight to f3. Okay, I need to play e into f4, then knight f3 is played, then black plays bishop e7, white plays bishop to c4, knight f6. Now he plays knight c3, and here black thought like, why not capture the pawn in the center of the board, and just if he captures here, then d5 will be played and he will recover the piece. But white thought something else. White thought like, why not capture the pawn on f7 in this position and lure the king into the center. Okay, king into f7 is played. Now he gives another check. And now if black was a clever player, okay, he would have gone behind with king g8, and maybe after knight into e4 the position will be balanced, okay, but he got little bit greedy. That's the human nature, guys. And he plays king to e6, attacking the knight. His thought process is like this: if knight captures knight in this position, he will get the piece, okay, and if he plays any other move, like he moves the knight, then he will just capture here and he will be piece up in this position, okay. But white had seen something else. He is ready to give up yet another piece, and he draws the king more into the center by the next move, that is queen g4 check. Here black captures the piece, and now he gives another pawn check, another sacrifice. Black captures that pawn also, okay. If you go behind, that was one of the possible moves you can play here. Then queen into f4, king g6, then queen into e4, king f7, maybe castling, and black is not at all in good position, that's what I will say. And okay, if you after castling, if you go to king g8, then obviously queen d5 is just going to lead to a checkmate. Maybe black will play bishop to f6. This is the best move, but I will say like this position I will prefer to play with the white pieces because I have some initiative in the position, okay. But king f6 was one of the best moves in the position. Black plays king into d4, which is a big mistake. He underestimated white's next move. Here if you think normally, then you will say like, okay, what will happen? White will just give a check and I can just go behind and I should be okay in this position. But you are mistaken something, okay. Here white has yet another beautiful move which he played. He gives up the third third piece sacrifice, guys. Here he plays bishop to e3. Bishop to e3 he has played. Who will play this kind of move? 3 pieces sacrifice. And if black captures the piece here, then it's going to be a checkmate very soon. He can play queen to e2, king will go here, queen into e4 check. King has only 1 square. Now queen d5 check. King doesn't have that many squares, he has only 2 squares. If you play king b4, then queen d5 is a checkmate. If you play king b6, then queen b5 is a checkmate. What a mate, guys. After giving 3 piece sacrifices, still you are going to hunt down the king and you are going to checkmate the king. What a feeling. Okay, if you don't capture here, then also it's going to be a checkmate. If he plays let's suppose this move, then bishop into f4 check, king d4. If you come back, then we can give double check, like rook will come in the game. Now king c4. Now it's time to give this queen e2 check. King doesn't have that many squares, so if you play king c5, king b4, it doesn't really matter because we have this rook check, or even queen to b5 is just going to be a check and mate. So guys, truly amazing. This third piece sacrifice was truly amazing, guys. So I hope that you enjoyed this all the 3 deadly sacrifices in this King's Gambit opening. So guys, once again I would like to say, don't forget to like this video, share this video with your friends, and if you're new here, subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon so that you will get all the notification of my all new videos. Till that moment, we'll be meeting very soon. Okay, take care, goodbye, and love you all.